everybody. I'm so excited that you will be joining us on our hydroponic growing journey. If you're seeing this video, you probably got one of these units. These are called aerogardens. So the really cool thing about this system is that our plants grow in water and they also grow inside. So we can grow plants all year long. And that's what we're going to be talking a little bit more today about, and really how to start using this system. All right, so let's get a close-in look at our aerogarden and kind of look at the different parts of it. So there are a couple of different compartments. We can remove this top lid. So that is one piece. And then this base also comes in. So this is going to be important. We want to make sure that after every time we start a new set of plants that we're cleaning and sanitizing this to make sure that things are staying healthy. So those are two sort of components in there. There's a base. In here, we also have a pump that's going to help circulate water throughout the system, and what's going to help our plant roots and help keep them happy. So this can be unplugged from the back of the machine, like especially when we're washing it and things like that. But otherwise, we want to make sure that it is plugged in. So before you do anything, you want to make sure that all of these pieces are kind of nestled together correctly. And we want to make sure that we put this in a place where we can let our plants grow for the next couple of weeks to potentially months, depending on what sort of seeds you're starting in here. One of the other cool parts is we have a light on here. So this light is adjustable. So you can move it up and down depending on how tall your plants are. So you want to make sure that your plants are never touching the light, that they have a little bit of space, but also close enough so that way, you know, when our plants that we're starting are really small, it has some nice close light, and kind of adjust this light as the plants move. So these are sort of the key components in our box. So we're gonna put this somewhere safe and make sure it's secure together. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the plug-in cord and we're gonna hook this up to the back of the machine. So there is a little power outlet back here. So we're just gonna make sure that that goes securely in. I'm gonna put it close to a wall and an outlet. We're going to plug it in and wait for it to get started. So down here you can see that there are a couple of different lights. So this light is set to an automatic timer that is going to give the system 15 hours of light each day. So whenever you plug it in, that's when your 15 hours is going to start, and it's going to continue on that cycle until we change it. Down here you can also see it saying, hey, we need to add water, and giving us a sign about our adding plant food as well. So I'm going to add water to the system. What I'm going to do is raise the light just to give us a little bit more room in here when we're working. So in here, I'll take this top cover off. So we want to make sure that this cover is, we have water up and above that cover. Having more water is okay. We want to make sure obviously that water is not overflowing over the top of our machine, but we want to make sure there's enough. So this is going to be the little compartment that we're going to add water to. You're going to be doing this regularly. You got to check your add water light, and that'll give you a good inclination. Or you can just come and check it out. So think slow and steady from a nice picture can help. I'm a little leery about putting it under the sink just because there are so many electrical parts. This way we have a little more control over what we're doing. So I'm going to need to add a little more water. And as you can see, the water is sort of flowing through these channels, and that's going to continue on as we go through the process, and really what helps aerate the roots. So I'm just going to add a little more water here. All right, so I have water up a little bit past the fill to here line. So what we're going to do next, what comes with the kits, and also we'll have some supplemental ones, are these little growing pods. So this is just it's not soil, but it's a grow medium. So that way there are already some seeds inside these cups. And this is just going to kind of provide a space for our roots to grow, especially initially when the plant is really small. So what we're going to do with these is we're just going to pop them in these holes. And we want to make sure they're in there fairly securely. We don't want things popping all over the place. All right, so right now our seeds are in, and the grow medium is going to be saturated with water, and that's what's really going to help these grow. So we're going to put these covers over the plant. That's just going to help trap some extra humidity. Seeds really love moisture in order to germinate. That's something that they really need. So putting these little caps on, I realize it might be weird thinking like, hey, they're already growing in water. But this extra little dome that we're putting over is really going to help our seeds germinate and make sure that they get off to the right start. So we're just going to put these over the plants. And then we're almost done with setup. The last thing that we need to do is add our liquid plant food. So this also comes in the container. On the back is kind of some instructions in case you forget. So it gives different recommendations depending on how big our systems are. So our systems are 6-pod systems, so we're going to add 8 milliliters or 2 capfuls. So we're going to do this right away here today, and then we're going to continue to do this every 2 weeks. So one, two. Rinse that off in there a little bit. That's all right. Put the cap on. Make sure that this is somewhere safe. It's not going to be harmful if you get it on your skin, but you want to, I think it's always good practice whenever you're doing anything with this to make sure that you wash your hands and are keeping things clean around the system. All right, so right now we are all set. Sort of start growing in our system. So today we planted some tomatoes in our system. On here it says that they're probably going to take about 7 to 14 days to germinate. With your kit, if you got something like lettuce or herbs, those might germinate a little bit faster. But we'll check in again on these germinate and talk about the next step in our system. All right, it has been a couple of weeks and we're back here at our aerogarden. We're just checking in on some of our plants. So as you can see here, we have a couple of different stages of plant growth here. So we've had some of these plants that have been sprouted for a couple of weeks now, but we also have some that are kind of just started. So what we're going to do is remove the covers from these plants and start doing a little bit of maintenance in here on our tomato plants. So you can see we have a couple of plants here that have 2 different tomato plants coming out. And what we're going to want to do is start cutting those plants off, just so that way they're not competing with each other sort of in the same hole. So we want to make sure that we don't pull them. That's why I have my scissors here. So we're actually going to cut them off to sort of stop that growth. So a couple of things that I look at, let's look at this plant here. So, I mean, we do have 2 pretty healthy and strong plants, but what I am going to do is cut off the smaller one here. And just sort of stop that one from growing. That way this plant has a little more space and a little more life. So, this plant here is, it's looking a little tough right now, so we'll wait for it to come along a little bit. But again, just wanted to give you a little bit of update on what we're doing. Also making sure that we continue to monitor, when it says to add plant food or water. If either of these turn red, we want to make sure that we're adding either nutrients or water to the system. So I'll put this light, sort of drop this back down into its regular growing position, slide back in, and that's all the maintenance we need to do on it today.